Have you ever heard of hugelkultar? Hugelkultur is a method of growing food that is low maintenance. It uses wood and other organic waste, breaking it down to create rich, fertile soil. Hugelkultur is often implemented in permaculture projects.
We'll take a pause right there before we get into it. Hugelkultur, I'm not an expert by any means, but my understanding is it's a process of composting wood debris and leaf debris and whatnot in place, and then growing right on top of that, you know. And they'll give you some examples here in this video, but typically you dig a ditch, you fill it up with large wood debris, and then you fill it up with smaller wood debris, and then eventually sticks and leaves, and then you plant onto it. But let's go ahead and see what they have to say about it, and we'll talk a little bit more about what I've done.
Hugelkultur beds can vary in size and shape, but let's talk about the basic steps involved with setting one up and what makes them so efficient and low maintenance. First, the trench must be dug. This will act as a reservoir to hold water. Hugelkultur beds are well known for producing large yields without the need for watering through the growing season.
All right, I gotta stop right there, and I'll talk about what we did with ours real fast. I knew I had to implement this somehow, and we had several wet areas on the property. And I found a spot up in the pasture where it looked like the previous owner dug a depression just to catch water that probably was pooling in the pasture somewhere. So I built our mound in that depression. After a good rain, it's always full of water, and it usually takes a day or two before that soaks down in. During the winter months, it holds water most of the time. So I built ours right there, and I loaded it up with heavy rotted wood debris right into that wet trench that I created. All right, let's go ahead.
Second, logs are placed in the trench. I hear having them stand on end will help them wick up water and make the beds more efficient. The wood acts as a sponge, soaking up water and holding it, then releasing it later for the plants to absorb as their surrounding environment has long dried up. Keep in mind, some woods work better than others. After the larger pieces of wood are placed in the trench, branches, sticks, and twigs are thrown.
Real quick, oak. Stay away from oak, I believe, if you can. Do a little quick search. There are species of woods that you don't want to add into the pile. They'll be detrimental in some way to the performance of it, so just check that out.
On top. These smaller pieces will break down faster and start adding nutrients into the soil quicker than the larger pieces. At this point, it's a good idea to cut some branches into this shape to be used as nails later. Dirt can now be tossed on the pile. Shake the sticks to get the dirt packed in nicely. The sod can be placed with the roots up. Compost, manure, and yard waste.
Okay, I'm going to pause it there because they spoke of building that debris pile up, and they looked like they just passed the height of the ground. Quite honestly, what you want to do is you want to continue to build that conical shape, right, of debris. And then what you're going to do is put your dirt on top of that. So your conical shape's going to have a fat layer of dirt and stuff and compost on top of it. But you want to maintain that conical shape. If you stop your debris pile down here, this whole top of your pile is susceptible to drying out much quicker. So you want that wood debris to come up into it and have your dirt to be on top of that. That's something I would disagree with what they said there.
Can now be tossed on the pile. Shake the sticks to get the dirt packed in nicely. The sod can be placed with the roots up. Compost, manure, and yard waste can also be added to the bed at this time. Create terraces to give more room for planting by laying long sticks down horizontally and then pinning them with the nails that were cut earlier. Throw some nice soil on top, and finally some mulch or plant a cover crop. It is recommended that a cover crop is planted the first year. Ideally, something that will add nitrogen into the soil, like clovers. This is because during the first year, the wood will actually absorb nitrogen from the soil before it starts to break down and add nitrogen and nutrients back into the soil for many years into the future. Hugelkultar has been...
Alright, I'll stop it there for a second. Couple things you want to be careful of when you're adding mulch and composting type materials to your pile. I learned the hard way that you don't want to use animal bedding, particularly straw type bedding, without letting it have a long time to really decompose on its own. Let the, chickens and stuff pick through it. What I had done, and my wife actually had done as well, we both didn't realize it. We took the bedding when it was nearly fresh from the chicken and the goat area and whatnot, and we put it on the piles, and they had larvae in it, squash beetle larvae, which apparently is very common for that type of bedding. So we infested both our beds with these beetles that destroyed our squash plants and whatnot. But so that's something you want to be cognizant of. Not to put the wrong type of composted material in there. That just like I said about the poisonous type of wood species. Just do a quick Google search and see. So as you're not doing yourself undue work and having to go back and dig stuff out. But let's pick up where we left off here with the ground cover. Really, really, really important. Anytime your earth is exposed, so you have dirt or soil, whatever, exposed with no plant material on it, you risk the chance of having weeds come in to fill that void, right? Mother Nature doesn't like to be naked. She's very shy. So when things get exposed, she just wants to quickly cover them up. And weeds are the fastest, easiest way for the ground to do that. And then it can determine after that, what species could stay, how rich the soil is, yada, yada, yada. So, be cognizant of that as well. You want to get your ground cover on as soon as you can. If you're doing this in the fall, put something down so you got it on until spring when you plant. If you're doing it in the spring, I would suggest doing something along with your plants. That way they have a little bit of ground cover as they come up as seedlings, Let's go.
And add nitrogen and nutrients back into the soil for many years into the future. Hugelkultar has been used for centuries and is starting to make a comeback. As we move into the future, it is important to understand all of our options. Hugelkultar is a sustainable method of growing food, and if implemented on a large scale, could help solve many issues around the world in regards to declining soil quality and food security. If you would like to learn more, there are links in the description. Thanks for watching.
Okay, what I'll do is I'll add the link to that video in my description as well. But just to, I know a lot of you that I've talked to, I've told you about my hugelkultar beds and whatnot. And I imagine it's easy to understand, but I know I explain stuff.
I'd recommend Jobber.
So I would, that's kind of the gist of hugelkultar. I know a lot of my friends and family have heard me talk of it and probably understand what I'm talking maybe, but I thought the visuals were nice and they help me when I'm thinking and replanning to redo stuff. Excuse me. Like I said, I had built the one, and I had even though I built it late in the year, July, and I did plant it late in July, I had pretty good success. I had pumpkins, I had bird gourds, I had one of the biggest tomato plants I ever grown. It was just gigantic, and it bushed out. It was huge. Um, I had some sunflowers, but they're corn. You know, some things just didn't do well because it was late in the year. But what really interested me was the water retention. You know, at first I was out there watering it when the seedlings were there, and I missed watering, and a lot of the delicate stuff burnt, like the lettuce and stuff. Um, and I was kind of bummed. I was kind of shocked. I was like, "Oh, this isn't really retaining water like I thought it would." And then we got a good rainfall, and it got the rain falling on top of it, saturating the pile. But not only that, it absorbed up that moisture from the bottom. It wicked it up through that little, ditch and all that wood debris. And I never watered the pile again, and that was sometime in middle August. Went through the entire rest of the growing season right up into October, when the goats went in there and kind of shredded it up late October. Um, but I never watered it again. And this year coming, I anticipate it being even better because it's had a year of um, sitting like that. And this winter, we'll have that area become saturated through the wet season, and it'll just continue to wick it until it's full. And I really look forward to next year and like telling you guys, how it worked out. Do I have to water at all? Will I maybe just spot water my seedlings in the beginning and then never water again? That would be my goal. But just wanted to share with you. I I have a hard time articulating some of these things, and some of y'all I just don't talk to. So I thought I'd put it down in the video and some images and stuff to work with, and uh, maybe help someone understand it a little bit. If they want to give it a try, go for it. I'd be happy to answer anybody's questions on what I did and how I did it. And next year I'll put up a video of the mound. There's really nothing to video this year because it grew and it's done and over with, and I never really documented much. But okay, well, good luck to you folks.